Hello, everybody, and thank you for being with us again. Once again, I'm super excited today. I have a very special guest. We've had conversations in the past about having this young man on with us, and hadn't had the opportunity, but today comes the reality. This is a person that's traveled the world more than a lot of us, even here at the corporate office. He's been to South Africa, Morocco, Hawaii, California, Chile, Peru. Man, I know I'm leaving out a lot of different places. Please help me welcome pro surfer, pro windsurfer. I got to make sure that I get that right. Federico Morisio, thank you for being with us tonight.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, appreciate you. I know you have a busy schedule. I know you have a lot going on. And we were just talking before we went on, and I asked you, one of the questions I asked you was, are you preparing for anything right now? You're in Chile. I've seen a lot of your videos, a lot of your content, a lot of what you're doing, and you're all over the place. So are you preparing for anything right now? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm here in South America. It has been a while actually. It's been a few months already, and in 12 days I have the my first event of the year in the PWA International Windsurfing Tour World Tour.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I will miss the first event of the year, which is in 4 days in Japan. I had a little injury to my ankle, to my ligament, and so also the logistics were really complicated to get there and come back. So I just decided to focus on the Chile event, which is it's I kind of feel like at home here. I spent a lot of time in the last 5 years in Chile. I love the vibe. I There's a really nice community, and I love the place, and the conditions are world class. So I was just like, I'm gonna focus here and try to go full power.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Federico, can you tell us a little bit about what is your training regimen? One of the things I said to you before we went on, and this is full transparency and disclosure. I don't know a ton about the sport of windsurfing, and I think a lot of our listeners, a lot of the people watching this video here on the ASEA family and the ASEA community, probably don't know a ton about windsurfing. So, give us a little bit. Just what does a training look like on a daily basis? What kind of
Of
preparation?
course. Yeah, so pretty much windsurfing depends. My discipline is windsurfing and waves. Windsurfing has different disciplines, has speed, has freestyle. Mine is in waves. And so the beautiful and challenging thing at the same time is that we depend from wind and waves.
Mhm.
And also in a way from the direction of both have. And so my goal is just to sail as much as possible throughout the year, hopefully sail almost every day. And so that's why I have to travel. I love to travel, and I travel in order to be in the best places, in the best periods, and sometimes also with the best riders so that I can train at the highest level. So
So
that's
would you?
pretty much.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I just had a question. You just made me
Uh-huh.
think of something. So a lot of times surfers will say, I'm chasing the waves, the next
Yeah.
big wave. You're not just chasing the wave, you're chasing the wind and the wave and the
And the
perfect
waves.
conditions to make it happen.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
awesome.
Exactly. And it's not easy. It's not easy because to find the right angle of wind and wave, it's rare.
So are you subject to whatever time you have to train at during the day, night, evenings, afternoons, depending on when you see the best current, best wind happening, or do you try to kind of just be at the right place where consistently you'll have some consistent windy days for the next month or something?
Exactly. So that's my goal, to be in places where I know how the conditions are. I know that on average, I get 70-80% of the days of wind, and I can train. And also in order not to make it too crazy up and down, be in places where I know I can have my morning routine in preparation to the windsurfing, and then I can have my evening routine, and I can focus also on extra activities that I like, and that I have to do. So the
Yeah.
thing about, like, for example, oceanic spots, like Hawaii, Chile, is that they have these winds, trade winds in Hawaii, surazo is called here in Chile, that are pretty consistent throughout. You have seasons of like 6 7 months, and you know that they're consistent, and you know that the wind starts on a good day, or on an average day the wind starts at 11 a.m. and it drops at 9 p.m. with certain like breaks in between. And so you know that you have the time. And so that's the training time where you want to put, at least I want to put at least 2 sessions a day of 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, maximum 2 hours, really high intensity. And then in between you can rest, you can prepare for the day, you can close the day, you can focus on other stuff, you know, like social media, like sponsors, all of that stuff.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. It almost seems like you have to kind of fit it in as best as you as possible. But again, you're subject to it, but you have to be as organized as possible with your agenda throughout the process. So that's really, really cool.
Absolutely.
Can you, you know, we haven't had an opportunity to get to know each other as much as I'd like. So I'm going to use this opportunity to get to know you a little bit. Tell me about your windsurfing background. Like, where did it all start? When did Federico, or Fede, as
Right.
his friends call him, when did Fede wake up and say, "Hey, I wanna give this a shot"?
So it's actually a pretty crazy story. It's always fun and special, you know, to tell about it. But I was born and raised in Turin, in Italy. So it's a city in the northwest part of Italy, and it's close to Milan. I'm closer to the mountains. I'm an hour away from the mountains and 2 hours and a half away from the sea, the Mediterranean Sea. So that's why I was telling you before, ocean. And so, but whatever. I was so lucky, and I will always be grateful for this. Like, my dad was a windsurfer, and actually my dad taught me a lot of different sports, you know, like mountain biking, skiing, snowboarding. He's really passionate about sports. And but he really loved windsurfing. And the whole thing was that every summer, summer holidays, the whole family dedicated summer holidays to windsurfing. So we would do like a trip somewhere, and it wasn't in Italy or in Europe, sometimes also internationally, because my family really loved to travel. So they would, you know, save on other things but be able to have this trip that was pretty much focused on windsurfing. So a windy place, and then throughout the years it became wind and waves. And so it was pretty much like that. I was windsurfing just in the summers, like from 8, I started at 8 9 years old, and all the way pretty much 19. It was just a summer activity. During the year I was going back to Turin, I was living in Turin, so I did all kind of sports. I played like soccer, basketball, volleyball, rugby. I always loved all kind of sports. And I was good at sports, you know, a bit because of my attitude, a bit because I had some talent.
Yeah.
And I really loved and always dreamed about being an athlete. But in a way, in that environment, being a professional athlete is not the first thing that comes up. You know what I mean? It's like, and my parents, which is good, they never pushed me too hard. And me at the same time, I never had that maturity to say, hey, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Or, you know, also because you didn't have that inspiration that close. You know, yeah, we had the football players, but you see that so far away, you know, and so that's pretty much, I would do all kind of sports. I was good. I wanted to push it more, but I wasn't never, I never really put in like that extra effort, given also my, you know, young age, whatever. That happened until 19. Obviously, throughout the summers, you know, people was noticing me. They were saying, "Wow, for the amount of sessions that you put in, you're pretty good." But I was an amateur, you know, and you know, windsurfing every summer, this connection, this traveling connection to the ocean, the sport was just something else. It's just so challenging, just so special. And so at 19, I finished high school, and my parents made me the biggest gift. I've been a good student, you know, and so they made me this good big gift before starting university, college, and I went to Maui, to Hawaii, for the
Wow.
first time alone at 19 from Italy. So for real, on the other side of the world. And man, Maui is the mecca of windsurfing. I got there and I windsurfed with my idols. I windsurfed one of the most iconic windsurfing wave spot in the world. I met the American and also like Hawaiian culture. Like, it was so, I had so many positive shocks in a way. Like, so like bam, 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 bam.
That's funny. You know, it's interesting that you say it that way too. Positive shocks, because typically people say like cultural shock and things like that. You're saying positive
Exactly.
shocks. That's really cool. Yeah, I like that.
Was positive because again, like, people was positive, and like the waves and the adrenaline and the idols like talking to you. And I was like, I was waking up happy, like, and I never felt that before. And then after few weeks of all this, I felt a click. I felt something. I feel like I wasn't secure. I wasn't a confident person. I was also given my environment, but just me myself at 19, I wasn't confident. I was a little negative, a little anxious, and there I just realized this is what I want to do in my life, and I can do it, and I can achieve it. I saw them in reality. I'm sitting with them. I know I can achieve that. And so it was a breakthrough, like really powerful. And when I go back, I remember like crying, telling that to my parents, because it was
They
so,
probably regretted sending you on the trip. They were scratching their heads. Why did
you
we
know
send this
what?
guy to Maui? Now we're gonna lose him.
You know what my dad told me, I will always remember. He told me, I was afraid that this could happen.
Wow. That's big of him though. That's big of him because the whole, like you said, your whole life being nurtured and being exposed and shown what the beauty of this sport and what it could do for you. So that was really cool for them to be able he knew where he was sending you. I have
I
a
mean,
feeling he knew where he was sending you.
they were like, I was so much into sport that they just, they had this, as parents, they knew this could be like a dream come true, but at the same time, the difficulty, the challenge, the instability and whatever. But so from there, my life pretty much started. I had just started. I had my life changed. I say sometimes that my second life started, but I just I left engineering. That was what I started, and my parents were still like, because I mean I was starting from nowhere, so I was like, please give me this chance, like help me out, invest in me, and I will make it happen, And they were like, okay, but we we want you to study, because it would be too much of an extreme
Yeah.
change. And so I continued like business administration, which then is something that I kept doing. And it wasn't an online course, but it was just a university. I would come back during exams and just study on my own, and in 1-2 weeks try to prepare as many exams as possible, and just leave again for windsurfing. So from there this started, and then it just started building up. I went straight in the best, as I told you. Like I was like, okay, I'm 19, I'm super late if I want to do a professional sport.
Yeah.
If I want to become one of the best in the world, I need to train in the best places with the best guys in the best time, and I need to do that consistently, either 100% or
So
nothing.
you dove right in, both feet into the water.
100%.
That's great, man. That's awesome. And can you tell us a little bit about some of the competitions you've been a part of, and kind of some of the ones that where you placed, and how that's
Yeah.
and kind of evolved?
Yeah. So this whole thing, I was so committed, I was so dedicated, and I loved it so much that actually after 2 years of full-time training, I won my first international competition. That was a pretty um, impressive for myself, in general. But so I won in Peru, the International Windsurfing Tour event, the Pacasmayo Classic in 2017. And then from there, I got a third place in Chile, and then I got another second place in Mexico, Baja California, Mexico. I got a second place in Chile.
How many people attend these types of events? Like how many windsurfers are competing at one time?
Usually it's 20, 25, and it can go up to 32 pros.
And these are, when you say 32 pros, you're talking about the best windsurfers in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We're talking about the best
you, and
windsurfers
you're
in the
sitting
world.
there placing top 5 over and over at these events after only being in the sport for 3-4 years. A
What
very
happened
small
is, yeah, I mean, that's for sure was a big step. What happened is also that for a few years we had two different tours in a way. Like one was the PWA that was a little more focused on Europe, more in jumping conditions. Because I'm sorry I didn't tell this, but in windsurfing waves, what we do is we surf waves just like in surfing, but with the sail that is kind of an engine in a way, so it gives us a lot of speed. And then at the same time, when we're going out, so when facing the waves, we use the waves as ramps to jump and do moves in the air. So these are the two parts of windsurfing wave, and you can have conditions that advantage jumping or riding, And so I was really into riding, and so I went a little more for the international windsurfing tour, which had more like fully wave riding spots, and that's where I had my best results. And so I doubled down on that.
That's oh my gosh. That and to be able to just do that and jump right in, I think that that speaks to the character of who you are. And like you said, you view yourself as just an average normal person with some physical, athletic attributes. And then you're like, I want to do this full time just by falling in love and following your passion. And I think that's something that's so important for people to hear. It sounds cliche, you hear it over and over, but when you hear success stories of people that have said, "Hey, I followed my passion through and through, and look where you're at today." I mean, I think both of your parents would be very proud to know that and I'm sure they are, to know that you've accomplished and have done so much just from the trip to to Hawaii.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, absolutely. I mean, there's still a lot of work to do, and I gotta say, I was lucky. I was really lucky in a way, like privileged in certain things. But I thought about this also throughout the years. At the end, like you're given a set of cards, right? And it's either you play it at your best, or that's it. It's not like starting again. And so I was just like, look, I was lucky. I mean, I realized that I had this talent and passion, because sometimes it's even hard to realize what passion you have or what talents you have. I was lucky that I kind of discovered them. I was lucky that my parents decided to invest in me. But at the same time, I was born into Turin. So it's like it's all a game of like, and from there to make it here, it's like it was, and it still is, but it's a long way. And that was thanks to commitment, dedication, like strategy, sticking to it. Like, and putting in the work, and having the right mindset. I really believe that. I really believe that. And this sport and this career, it's so challenging, was so challenging that in a way that's what I love. But so I love windsurfing because it's so challenging. There's always something more to learn, and at the same time, the professional windsurfer career, it's so challenging in terms of economic sustainability and like development, that again it pushed me as a person.
yeah,
At one point I was like, man, I need to improve myself. Like, it's not only about being good to water. I need to improve myself. If I wanna step it up here. I need to be better at communicating. I need to be better at understanding people. I need to be better at like a lot of different things. And so that pushed me, and I think that's cool.
yeah. And one of the things we talk about here at ASEA, we talk about it's really a phrase that it's very very important and dear to our hearts, and you'll hear it throughout all the different messaging that we have, and it's we power potential.
And I love it.
Power potential in the elements of our product, and the elements of the opportunity, the financial opportunity that this business can offer, that these products can offer, and the changes that they can make in people's lives. So to be able to couple that, it's interesting to hear you say that, because it just goes, it reiterates the fact that this is every element of life. It doesn't matter if you're an athlete. It doesn't matter if you work in a corporate setting. It does not matter what your walk of life is.
Hmm.
It's all incorporated. I want to take a quick second. I was looking. I told you before we jumped on. I was looking at some of your content. I'd love to show a quick video here, if I can get my screen to share. And I just want to walk people through some of the things that you put on social media, and kind of share your social media posts first of all. So share everyone your handle in case they don't know how to look you up. You want to share that with them real
Oh
quick?
yeah, yeah. It's Federico Morisio. It's my name. So I share a lot about windsurfing, but also, as I was telling you, like what's behind it. Because I want to be able to use all this experience that I'm able to leave, and I'm lucky to leave, and share it. So how I'm making it in this challenging career, how I'm improving in the water in terms of performance, efficiency, and also as a person.
Yeah, yeah, and it shows. I think it shows through your character, through the conversations, even the minimal conversations we've had, you and I, prior to this, to get to know you a little bit more, and be able to see some of the things in the content, some of the shots you have on here, like this video, for example. So this one's in Maui. Looks like you went back
Yes.
to your old stomping grounds there, and I'm sure you've been there several times. Uh, so you're talking about those waves, kind of running back and catching some of that. Is that what you're referring to? Like, what are you being
Yes.
judged, or what are you working on here?
So here, this was a pretty big day. So I was, in Hawaii, you can get big waves, and that's a unique condition. Hawaii, this spot is called Hokipa in the island of Maui, in the north shore of Maui, and it's it's just that's the iconic spot. That's where I went for the first time 80 years ago. That changed my life, and still this spot has is teaching me every day, and it takes me like always more sessions to understand, because the direction of the waves, the wind, the current, the tide, everything is changing consistently. So you always have to be on it. There's always something to learn. And then here
This was
it's a video
incredible. So
from,
this was in Chile, right? You just did this.
yes, yes. This is
The
dreamy.
the footage of
Let me
this
say
and
this.
having the drone just follow you and you being able to move like this.
This is
Amazing.
this was a dreamy session. Here you can see how the wave, it's like Point Break. The wave is just opening and leaving you the right amount of space to ride it. And the thing here, Hawaii too, but the thing here in Chile, that the landscapes are so wild, and I just love it. You know, I mean, the nature is so strong. You feel it. You know, the wave, the nature, the rocks, the wind. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of, but at the same time, this place, it's 45 minutes away, but driving from where I'm right now. I'm in Matanzas, which
Okay.
let's say is like the headquarters of the place here. And then from here, you move to the different spots. In this video, this spot in the video is called Topocalma, and it's 45 minutes away. So you're seriously in the middle of nowhere. So when you
Wow.
get there, it's just like you get there and you see this wave and it's windy and there are these rocks, and you're like, wow, like it's powerful.
Amazing. It's amazing. When Let me ask you a question. So this is the part that gets me excited. Um, when does ASEA enter your life?
So as you can, what I said, you know, is like there's a lot of training, there's a lot of traveling, there's a lot of activities to do. Like also besides the training, the physical and the windsurfing training, you know, there's the social media, all of that. And so sometimes it's hard to manage the energy, right? To manage the energy in the best way possible. And so I I I really believe that with the right attitude, training, and like as an athlete, I need to train outside of the water physically, inside the water, and then also mentally. And then obviously I pay a lot of attention to my diet, right? Because that's where you get the most energy from, right? What you eat, how you sleep also, but how you think. And so I usually I like to in a way count on myself,
Mm.
but again, sometimes it gets really tricky, really challenging. And so I'm always looking for some natural products that can give me that extra boost, you know?
Yeah.
And so when I heard about ASEA from Sunny, a big friend of mine, and was like, you know, I could need that, but let's see, you know, because I don't want it to be something like not natural or something like, and then I remember having the first ASEA energy. And I was like, "Oh my god!" Actually, I have a story, because I was here in Chile and I brought this guy with me, this filmer, so to to film some content, to do some vlogs,
Yeah.
and after a few days of sailing, few days in a row of sailing, I was pretty tired. It's really demanding on the body, you know,
I can imagine.
and so I got there and conditions were epic, but I was like, I looked at my film at Teddy and I was like, Teddy, I'm dead. Like it's tricky today. Like it's awesome out there, but I'm having a hard time. And then I remember that I had my ASEA energy and I took it, and that day I got some of the best waves and some of the best videos. And my friend was like, man, since you got that he didn't know exactly what it was. He was like, since you got that powder, you were like killing it. Like, what was it? Like, what's going
What
on? You know?
what kind of powder are you taking? You know what's funny? It's interesting. Did he know? Did Teddy know before you took the ASEA what you were taking, or did he just assume you were taking some energy drink, something like that?
He just saw a big difference, you know, and then I felt it too, but he was really like, man, like, wow. And, you know, even in the water, but also out the water, I got out of the water that, yeah, I was obviously super excited with adrenaline, but I was still like full power. I was still like, you know, with plenty of energy after a session where usually like you're stoked, but you're like, man, I need to rest a little, you know?
Did it tell me a little bit about, did you get any mental clarity, any, when you talk about like the mental element or like the thought process, did you, what were some of the things that you were like, okay, that feels different?
So with the energy, I feel like I just feel like I had a boost of energy, and not like a boost like 10 minutes,
Yeah.
30 minutes, a long-term boost. And the cool thing about it, because I get coffee, I tried products, and the thing with this one, I went up in a way, but then it didn't have like a drop.
Yeah.
And that's important, because it's good until you're up, but then when you go down, it's bad. And so here I just feel like it was like, and then slowing down, and this for the energy. While, like, for example, I took a lot of mind too,
Mm.
um and the mind was like, I also, it's hard to explain, but I pay a lot of attention on listening to my body, right? Because I want to maximize my performance.
Sure.
I want to maximize my level. I want to improve and be better all the time. So I really pay a lot of attention on how I feel, what I feel, why it's like that, or why it's like this. I don't like to take like medicines, because I feel like they kind of like hide what's going on. They don't really go there and solve it. So I try to analyze and feel myself as much as possible. And the mind one, I just feel like when I had a lot of stuff in my mind, I was like unfocused, pretty much unfocused. I feel like I got the mind, and I was like, and you can't be unfocused before going in the water of like 2-3 meters waves, a reef underneath, and like rocks. Like there's not a lot of margin for error. Like there's not a lot of mistakes permitted. So I feel like it kind of like, from like this, it deleted, and it permitted me to be like focused. Like I'm in the water, in the now. You know what I mean? In the
Yeah.
now. That's
Yeah.
in the now, which is so important. You hear this a lot from athletes: being in the zone, being in the now.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not that easy. And so having an extra help to be there in the moment, fully present, fully focused, that's where magic happens in the water.
They call it the flow state, right? You got to be in the flow
Exactly,
state. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah, I
exactly.
hear athletes from different backgrounds. I mean, I'm drinking one right now.
I recognize it.
Mine's my favorite, but I mean, all of them really have their right, there's a right time and a right benefit to them, early in the morning, depending on what you're doing and what you're performing. So that's an incredible
Exactly.
story.
And
And
and and and you and you sorry, but you talk about this because I'm like, I need performance, I need like full power, I need to be energized, I want to be ready to hit the wave, I want to be. But you know what? The mood one was was mind blowing, because okay, yeah, I want to be full power, but in a certain time frame, right? And
yeah,
so sometimes in the evenings I'm still like in adrenaline, or like too high, and I've been getting the mood, because sometimes I have chamomile tea, but I was like, I tried the mood, and it was the perfect complement to the other two, because it just chilled me down, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And especially also for when sometimes I wake up maybe with a little bit of headache, that usually what you do, like you have a little bit of headache, you're a little like unfocused, and so you're like, oh, I'm gonna get a coffee, and then you get a coffee and you have even more headache. And so I was like, you know what, instead of getting a coffee, I'm gonna try to take a mood. And that was crazy, because that's the best moment for me. Like when I had a little of headache, I got the mood. I was a little anxious, waking up a little anxious, or during the day, certain times, maybe when you have to work a little uh, more computer stuff, office stuff, let's say, I got the mood, and it just like calmed me down. And so again, I was more in the present,
yeah.
and I was just like more calm, and I just got stuff done, and no more headache. So that's the mood actually was a really, really good one.
Yeah, and this is, this is all a compliment and to our team who put these ingredients together, really top quality ingredients. And the more and more we share information, details, the science, and the benefits of each ingredient kind of broken down. Even as I've gotten to understand them over time, man, they are incredible. And one of the things that you said that was really interesting to me was, you talk about how you feel, but when other
Hmm.
people are noticing, that is where I think that now it becomes even more powerful, right? Because I can feel great, but I may still be performing the same way. So for Teddy or other people around you to be like, "Hey, Fede, what are you on, man? What's going on?"
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
cool.
That's why I wanted so bad before my contest. I'm really like hoping to get. I finished my energy. I finished my ASEA energy, and I really want it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I do have another question because as we're sitting here having this conversation, thinking about the athletic benefits, what are some of the benefits that you see that this product could have for other athletes? So as you start to talk, now we're talking windsurfing, but maybe even broader, right? Your discipline
Yeah.
translates to a lot of other sports. What are some of the benefits that you would say, okay, if I was to highlight, here are some key benefits that I would highlight for anybody to be on these types of products or the self performance line?
So I think like for me, as any other athlete, you want to be able to have a peak of energy in the moment that you're doing your activity in order to have the maximum intensity and the best performance. So for example, the mind and the energy are just great because I feel like it brought me up there. I wasn't like, oh, I, I can ride, I have a great wave, but I can't ride at my best because my arm is a little tired or I feel a little tired. There was nothing of that. And so it's kind of like you you don't have these limits in a way, you're just feeling good. And it's sports, it's physical, it's technical, but it's also really mental, and so this whole thing about feeding your body, how you feel your body then affects your mind. And so it's all a game, right? And if you're like motivated and you feel that the body is there, it's like I'm here, I'm ready, like go for it, I'm here, I'm 100%, then it becomes a bond, so
Yeah.
uh
It's the synergy between the mind, the mental state and the physical state. And I think that's what you're referring to. That is super
absolutely.
powerful. And it is something that I think athletes have the ability to really connect well, because they train at it so regularly. So that's super critical. You
Yeah.
know, but and I think of this, and I think of even people that are not professional athletes. We all have everyday activities. You talked about the computer. Hey, I got to be on the computer, I got to do this kind of stuff. You can also receive the same benefits from
Absolutely.
the products and see, okay, it's making a difference in my day. I take it on a daily basis, and I take it because it does give me mental clarity with my thoughts, with my decision making, with my ability to be able to process, large sums of information. So that's really, really
Hmm.
cool to be able to hear you talk about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like again, like for me, for example, is really important. Maybe on the first day of windsurfing of training, if there hasn't been wind for a few days, it's the first day, I'm rested, I'm a little more like, but to be able to be that consistent, so the second, third, fourth, fifth day in a row, that maybe even if you're put in the work, you've stretched, you were training, you were like running, you've done it all, you're not at 100%, still, because it happens.
Yeah.
And that could be with like for a person maybe in a city, it just could be like going to the gym on Friday evening. You had your whole week, you're tired, you feel like maybe you don't want to, but you know that you should, because that's the training that matters when you're the most tired. And boom, there you go, you get an ASEA, and you go there, you give it all, and you achieve your goal,
That's exactly right. Your excitement gets me excited. Your excitement contagious. So I love you
Be-
sharing that story. I appreciate it.
because and people here already know me because I'm going around like I feel like when I and this didn't happen just like in this case, but in general, if I notice something great for me, I feel like it's nice to share it. Like obviously with the
Beautiful.
closest people to me, but also like on social media and stuff. Like if there's something that brings me benefits and I tried it and I experimented, like I don't collaborate with a lot of brands because they really need to be in line with my values, and I really need to um try it and experience it, and it has to be something that I would do even if it wouldn't be a deal. So when I find that, then I'm like so excited about it. I'm going around, like I see a person with headache, I'm like, no, take a mood. And then I'm like, are you tired? No, take an energy. and then, and so like I'm already known here because I'm
Walking
going
it all
around.
3 boxes. That's
It
awesome.
kind of, I dropped a little lately because my stock of ASEA is going down, so I'm being a little more selfish. I gotta
You
manage it.
know, one thing you said that was beautiful, and I'll give you any last thoughts you want to share with the young audience, but I want to make sure we kind of touch on it, and you said it, and I couldn't have said it better myself. You know, one of the things you said is, if I know that something is works for me and is good for me, why would I not share it with those around me? And I think that's the message of what ASEA represents. It's what it represents to me, and I think it's what it represents to a lot of people listening. It's, if there's benefits to this product and to it can bring great outcomes, great results to different people in different needs, why would we not
Hmm.
want to share it? So the one thing I want to close with, if you allow me to, is, you know, we have a wide array of audience. You know, we have
Hmm.
teens, you know, all the way up to every age imaginable, you know, that you can think of, and people that are very excited about this company, about what we stand for, about these products. You know, what if we're talking about wellness? We're a health and wellness company. You are, as an athlete, what is the one message you would share with people as they are now entering 2023? We're in March. I shouldn't say entering, we're in March of 2023. Give people a wellness message. You know, talk about, hey, here's how I would advise that all of you prioritize your health. Talk about some of the things that you would encourage those around you, you know, people that you
Yeah.
care about.
I mean, to me, it's really simple. Obviously, being an athlete, in a way, like, um, not extremize that, but let me put even more focus on it. But like, to me, it's simple. Like, I want to maximize, well, maximize my potential in a way, And so, um, it's to me, it's all about energy and time. Like these are the most important assets that we have, right? So if you find a way to have more energy in a healthy way, and at the same time gain some time, you're like, those are the best investments that you can do, right? Because if you have more energy, then you can invest it in more ways, and then time is like invaluable. Like it's just like the most important thing we have. And so to me, I'm taking care of myself first of all, because the better you are, the better you feel, and the better you think, and the better you think, the better you are. It's connected, and the better you leave. To me, the mindset is really important. And then I'm also like, I want to be healthy, because I want to be out there in the water windsurfing until I'm 80. I want to have mental clarity. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be, like, it's just, I want to have a good and happy life, and energetic life, as long as possible. And so I know that I need to invest from now on, and it's not even, I don't even see it as a sacrifice, because I know that it's just an investment that is coming back straight to me.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, that you're absolutely right. The two elements of investment is invest in yourself, and it'll allow and yield for more time. So I couldn't agree more with those messages. So, you know, like I said, you get to know people and meet people, and certain people have a very high positive energy about them as human beings, and you're certainly one of them. So I appreciate you taking
Thank
the
you.
time to meet.
Appreciate it.
I can't wait to hear and see more of your story. I can't wait to get to know you even better. This is just, you know, scratching the surface. I hope to all of those that are listening today or that are watching this today, that they've enjoyed this as much as I've enjoyed getting to know you, Fede. And I know Fede is for the friends, so I consider myself a friend now. Um, and I appreciate you taking the time. I know you have a busy schedule. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Allowing for us to get to know a little bit about what windsurfing is and what the windsurfing community is and who you are as an individual. We're proud to know that you represent ASEA, you're on ASEA, and that you love the products. It's something that really excites me.
Yes.
And so thank you for your time, and we will be in touch and talking soon. We'll have you again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, and for letting me share these behind the scenes, which I hope can bring value and some inspiration, hopefully, to some people out there.
Really appreciate you. Thank you so much, Fede. Take care.
Ciao, ciao. Thank you so much.